Yes, what were you telling me your name was?
Jesse.
Jesse.
Another Bible name.
Yeah, it is. So tell me a little bit more about these mountains.
About the ski mountain or the mountains in general?
Everything that I'm looking at, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm going to tell the whole bus, and I'm going to be using a microphone.
Oh, so I don't want you to repeat yourself. You know?
Okay, I'm going to talk about the mountains for sure. But these are shorter than the taller Tetons, but these are Tetons to your right.
Oh, okay.
Teton Range. We got some hot air balloons coming up on our right. They're about to go up for a 1-hour flight.
Oh, so that's like another tour that you could take that people
There
do.
are lots of ways to see the area. And down, test, test, test. Test, test. I was trying to get my other microphone working, but for some reason it doesn't interface, so this works.
Sounds good.
Good. One balloon's already up. It's going to be a 4-balloon day today.
Where do you see balloons?
This might be the first day this summer. It is the first day this summer that I've seen all 4. So business is booming for the Wyoming Balloon Company. There are a whole bunch of tours in the area, and some of them are fly fishing floats, some of them are horseback rides, some of them are mountain bike or hiking tours. We're going to run into a number of vans and buses up in Yellowstone today that do the same thing I'm doing. It could be a private party who chartered a bus. It's probably open tours. That's what this is. That's where we pick up strangers who don't know each other at whatever hotel they're at. Just before you came down, I saw a van pulling out of the Hotel Terra from Wild Things of Jackson Hole. It's the same gig. People that know the area are picking up and driving folks around and telling them what they're looking at. So we don't contract to the hostel per se, but anyone that stays at any hotel can book a tour, and we're really glad you found us. Funny thing is, I knew today was going to be kind of a complicated pickup schedule, so I sent text messages to the first 2 hotels in town that I'm going to, asking the folks to be ready a little bit early. The people at the Wyoming Inn, I had their personal phone number. It turns out, I found out this morning, it's a landline. So I sent him a message this morning saying, okay, I'm not going to be there 7:18 after all, and a message came right back saying, that's a landline. Funny, I didn't get that notification last night. So, as far as he knows, he and his wife, I won't be there till 7:30, which is probably the case. So I left steep walled canyon, mostly in shadow. At the bottom of the canyon is a tree-covered ridge. As you get a little bit further north, you're going to be looking right up the canyon. That's evidence of what I'm talking about. Between 2 and 13 million years ago, depending on who you read, there's that much disagreement. There were no Tetons on your left. The Earth's crust stretched and pulled apart, so that a block of rock rose, and the valley floor swung down as if there was a hinge 7 miles to our right and another hinge 17 miles to our left, and the pieces of the earth swung past each other like swinging doors, so that at one point you had 30,000 feet difference. Currently, off to your left, you can see the ski hills over there above Teton Village. You're looking at 4,000 feet. The Grand Teton, 7,000 feet above the valley floor. What happened was gigantic sheets of ice flowed off the Yellowstone Plateau and filled in the valley with gravel. Gravel that is so porous that unless you're on a rocky island like ahead right at 1 o'clock, or along the Snake River, which we can't see to our left quite yet, the water percolates to the gravel too quickly to support trees. And then smaller glaciers began to separate the mountains on your left, sculpting, defining the range, and carving the canyons. The glacier that made Death Canyon at their heights and how they compare to mountains in Colorado on the way back. because these are not as tall, but they're bigger from bottom to top. I'll come back to that. Between the Grand and the Middle Teton is a U-shaped saddle, just about completely in view. At the bottom of that U is the preferred place to camp if you set out to climb the Grand Teton, as 1,000 people a year try to do, with about an 85% success rate. There is no walk-up route. It's definitely technical. That doesn't mean that 150 people die. It means they're turned back by bad weather, or altitude sickness, or injury, or nerves. To the right of the Grand Teton, under the V-shaped notch on the skyline, is a glacier. At the top of the hill, you can see it better. There are 10 glaciers still sculpting at the range. Only 3 can be seen readily from the highway. That's 30.
So I'm going to fill this out. Younger than 16. Yeah, 17 adults.
All right.
So I'm sorry I didn't have this filled out ahead of time. Usually I ask who's got senior cards today. I should put 20 here for number of clients, right?
Yep.
Here's my signature. Isn't that something?
We gotta wait till he gets his.
Total 3 of them are younger than 16.
If they come to the park, it's good for a little park.
No, I understand that, but we didn't have to pay for the.
Whatever.
How many parties?
Well,
7
I think
parties.
the price was high.
Well, because 3 of them are kids, may I please have 10?
And we were alone. It was wonderful, because you pack a couple dozen people on an area 15 by 35 feet, and there goes the solitude. But it was a joy to watch the sun rise as we gained elevation. This road has a slower speed limit. The word on the street is that it's slower than the outer road, but because this road is a few miles, this road sometimes people miss because have you noticed in the national parks there's no road highway number signs? They do it on purpose. I used to work in the visitor center in Jackson for 11 years. People come down and say, we just got in Yellowstone, where are the Tetons? I said, didn't you see those big gray mountains to your right? They said, no, we mean the close-up approach, Jenny Lake, the cathedral group. I say, you missed a Jackson Lake Junction. Little brown signs say this place or that place. Take them seriously. You don't have to turn where they say these things are. It's a free country. But equally easy to miss is the North Jenny Lake Junction. South Jenny Lake is 20 miles from Jackson. It's really famous because that's where you take the boat across from to see Hidden Falls. It is a half-mile hike up 200 feet from the far shore of the lake. Because of that, the access road to Jenny Lake is every bit as jam-packed as, well, some of the roads we saw today. Actually, it's worse. I saw about 200 cars that didn't make it into the parking lot yesterday afternoon. Here is the North Jenny Lake Junction, 23 miles from Jackson. If you turn here, it's a better view of the lake than if you go to South Jenny Lake. The difference is there's no boat. A mile down that road, there's a turnout called Cathedral Group, where there's a quote by one of the first Teton Rangers. Norwegian name, Dr. Fridtjof Fritzl. He was a geologist. He said regarding that jagged pyramid at 1230, he said that's called the cathedral because more evident here than in many of the stone architecture of Europe is the Gothic note. Is seen in the profiles of countless spruces and firs, congregated like worshippers on the lower slopes. It reappears the converging line of spire rising above spire, and attains supreme expression in the figures of the peaks themselves, which, with pointed summits towering above all else, direct one's vision and thoughts yet higher. You know why I like that quote so much? He's gushing. He's demonstrating how these mountains move you viscerally and make a deep impact. Now, he wasn't content to look at crystals under a microscope. He was a muscular geologist. He climbed all these mountains. He physically embraced the stuff of his profession. So my hat's off to Dr. Fritzl. The Grand Teton is 13,775 feet above sea level. Your blue map says 770. The U.S. Geodetic Survey gave all these mountains 5 extra feet 4 years ago. They recalibrated sea level. I don't know how the heck you do that, but the Park Service saved a whole bunch of money by not having to reprint their maps, by saying, well, we didn't do the study, so they rejected the 5 extra feet. But my point is, whether 13,770 or 13,775, that doesn't sound that tall, does it? When you consider the Colorado to our south has 54 mountains higher than 14,000 feet. Why are these mountains so famous and they aren't even all that big? Well, I'm going to tell you. Colorado has a geologic head start. It's been pushed up from beneath, so the mountain bases are higher than we are here. That's why they have a longer ski season down there. Bottom to top, these are bigger. I spent a night on top of, oh boy, what's his name? Towering above Leadville, Colorado, the tallest mountain in the Colorado Rockies, Mount... it's slipping my mind. I've climbed Long's Peak and Pike's Peak too. My brain has slipped. I've forgotten the name of Colorado's highest mountain. From parking lot to summit is 5,100 feet. From the parking lot to the top of the Grand Teton is 7,012 feet. That's the same as 5 2/3 Empire State Buildings. And it doesn't like that. Without any foothills, if you're on top of the Grand Teton, you're looking down on the roof of your car in a straight line 3 1/8 mile away. You have the illusion that if you had one of those flying suits, you could just launch yourself and save a whole bunch of work coming down. We think this immediacy of the Tetons, as well as their jagged youthfulness, is why Theodore Roosevelt said these are what mountains are supposed to look like. I'm amazed I forgot the name of Colorado's highest point. Leadville, of course, is where the unsinkable Molly Brown began. Here is South Jenny Lake, and if you were to take the other road that came back to this one a half mile behind us, and if you do it early enough in the morning, don't expect to see this if you wait till after 9 o'clock. Where'd my picture go? Gets the reflection. That's right over there at the base of the canyon. Coming up to the road that goes to the Lupin Meadows parking lot where you park if you want to climb the Grand. Or if you just want to hike up the canyons or along the base of the mountains. underneath the east face of Teton.
That's the name.
Lupin Meadows. Had to, because warning was spread, but they were trying to save belongings. I think I said earlier, the Earth is alive. It is so recent. Well, I can see the houses on Craighead Road. Had remnants of the ghost town that was called Provence, Wyoming, 1896. Very picturesque barns to photograph with the Tetons on the horizon. That's part of the Teton tour for sure, too. Had remnants of the ghost town that was called Provence, Wyoming, 1896. Very picturesque barns to photograph with the Tetons on the horizon. That's part of the Teton tour for sure, too.